Well, hello, all you Star Vista Live cruisers out there. I'm your virtual cruise host, Jason, and welcome back to another fun edition of All Access Pass from Home. For this one, we wanted to change the game up a little bit and do something a little bit different. We put together a collection of folks that you can see here on the screen. And if you've cruised with Star Vista Live, undoubtedly, within a couple of exceptions, you've probably seen one or all of these people right here. They do multiple cruises, each one of them. All of them do at least 3, and Miss Cara does actually 4 different Star Vista Live cruises with us. So I thought, what a great opportunity to grab some of our collective talent all together and have a little chat about who they are, where they come from, what the cruises are like, and what the hell they're doing in quarantine. Let's start by saying hello, everybody. How we doing? Timmy, how you doing up there, buddy?
I'm in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. It couldn't be better. They've eased up the retail sales. Restaurants opened, and not 100%, but living by the water like I do, it's almost back to normal now. Crowds are starting to come back, believe it or not.
Yeah. Well, I think everyone's anxious to get out, right? Everyone's just hungry to get out and get back to life. And Timmy, you work directly with George, and you and George are a dynamic duo. And what cruises do you guys do with Star Vista Live?
George, you want to feel a little bit of that? I mean, we've done Flower Power, we've done 70s Rock and Romance, we do Malt Shop, and boy, do we love it. We do them all if you'd let us.
Yeah, you let me know what acts you're going to pay tribute to on the country cruise and the rest of them. We'll settle you guys in. I can see a disco act in your future. Speaking of, Boy George, how are you feeling, buddy?
I feel great. I'm looking forward to seeing everybody when we finally do get the green light and start cruising again. I guess our next cruise will be Malt Shop, and I won't have all of this, that's for sure. But yeah,
neither will I.
Yeah. No, but Tim and I, we have a wonderful time creating these characters and entertaining. As everybody knows, the cruises are these big themed events, and it's really impressive how our guests. I don't know. People must have 14 pieces of luggage because they have professional costumes and poodle skirts and the whole thing, But we're just happy to be with you.
Business, yeah.
And we're so happy to do it and entertain with our lovely friend Cara.
You guys are a big part of it. And Miss Cara Lee, of course, you do 4 cruises with us. How are you, my dear?
I'm good.
You're in California, right?
Yeah, Hollywood, California. We are not opened up here. And
you'll be the last, let's be honest.
Yeah, us and then New York.
Yeah.
So, but we're officially on lockdown still till May 15th, but it hasn't been extended yet. Hopefully I know there's like a 5-stage plan, but that plan is very lengthy. So
well the good news is we gave you a reason to put on some makeup and brush your hair today.
Exactly. I'm wearing clothes.
Hey, I do that every day. I didn't even need a reason.
Put on makeup or brush your hair? Which one?
Both. Take a look. I brushed it pretty hard today.
And of course, we have Mr. Jeffrey Allen Ross. Now, Jeff, a lot of folks know you individually, obviously, but tell everyone how they should also know you. Are a big part of a group we have on most of our cruises.
I'm a part of what we call the Hall of Fame band because nobody else had that name, and so we got the name, even though none of us are in the Hall of Fame
yet
that I know of. But so we have the pleasure now of backing up Cara, doing a bunch of her characters. But of course, what we like doing with Cara the most is when Cara plays herself, because when she plays herself, she's really, really good. And
are you saying she's not as good when she plays other characters, Jeff? What are you implying?
No, I'm saying that she's that much better when she does herself.
Well played, sir. Well played.
Yeah. I've been married a long time. I know how to answer these questions. And
also a double entendre there, but that's fine.
Thank you. And then we back up George and Timmy on a few things, and then of course I've been working with Peter Asher for 14 years, and we do that. And coming up, hopefully in 2021 on Rock and Romance, we'll also be the band for Badfinger as well, of which I used to be the a member. So.
I was just gonna lead you into that one. Yeah, you were a member of Badfinger for a little while.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Do the lead in, and then I'll catch up.
You were a member of a very big band from the 70s as well that people might have heard of.
Yeah, a band called Badfinger. Thank you, Jason. I really appreciate you bringing that up. Yeah, and normally, I mean, I've done just a few gigs with Joey Molland, who's scheduled. Haven't done it with him in a long time, but we will be doing it in 2021.
I love it. I love it. Well, let me collectively say I appreciate all of you taking some time to come on and chat with us. Let's start with the question that's obvious to all of our viewers, all the Star Vista Live viewers, and certainly those that know these folks. George, what the hell's going on with you right now? What's happening with your look? What's happening? What's going on? Is this just the quarantine effect? Is this the stay-at-home effect?
Yeah.
You got dirt all over your what's happening?
I will tell you the truth that today, I am 37 years ago today, I started in a little show in Las Vegas that was supposed to go for 3 weeks, and it's still going. It was going, and it's now the longest Legends in Concert, the longest running show in Las Vegas. And I did Buddy Holly, and before that, I worked at Disneyland. So my hair was short, and I've never had a beard. So I thought, well, now that I'm not working, and I travel around doing Ed Sullivan with the Fab Four, which keeps my hair really short and no beard. So now I got sideburns and I got a little beard going. And
the good news is you still don't have a beard, so don't worry, you're fine.
It's true. It's true.
You look good though. I love it. No, I really do love it.
I feel good. No, and we're here in DeLand, Florida, DeLand, where the fun never starts. And we're
is that the Villages?
No, we're about an hour from the Villages. Gateway to the Villages. The Villages.
The Villages.
The Villages.
Oh.
I'm right across the street from my mom and dad, so we're hunkered down, and I have I've painted. Every day I try to do a project, and I'm trying to stay positive, and I painted the house, finished that.
Did you get it done?
This is I got it done. And
nice.
This is my flower power shirt, and I actually spilled. I was on a ladder, and I spilled paint all over the front of myself. And normally it would ruin the shirt, and it's just somehow enhanced it. It hasn't ruined it at all. No,
as long as it didn't cover the logo.
That's right. That's right. But we're staying busy, homeschooling our boy, and I'm practicing music, and I have boxes of beta tapes that I haven't seen in 25 or 30 years, and I just shipped off a machine to Texas to be repaired, and I'm going to be putting together sort of a documentary. Tim and I always talked about adding media to our shows, but I've sort of toyed with the idea of writing a book and making a little documentary. So now that I have the time, I never had the time, and beta's been a discontinued format for a long time. So that's what I'm going to do. Try to be positive. And
when do you find time to save babies and cure cancer and all of that?
Well, and I practice music at least 1 hour a day, so I'm trying to keep my chops up, and been talking with Timmy every once in a while. And when things do open up, we're going to be ready to go. I think there's going to be a really big need. I said this to you in our interview before. My grandmother was a vaudeville performer in around the Depression, and I remember one of the last things she said to me was, "When times are bad, that's when people need entertainment the most." And I really feel that way about this. I think there's no sports, there's no concerts, there's no weddings, there's nothing. And when we finally get the green light, I think it's going to really take off. It might be a little different, but I think it's going to take off. So that's what I'm doing.
I agree too. Jeff, how are you staying busy?
Well, I'm actually busier than I might normally be, other than the gigs. But well, yesterday we cut. The only person that's been in my house other than my daughter and my grandson is Peter Asher. I don't know. He went to England, and when he came back, he had to quarantine for 14 days, and he hasn't been anywhere since. So we've been cutting our Sirius radio shows. So we've cut like 14 radio shows. We're about to do the big Beatle top 100 songs for the Beatle channel this week. So we're doing all of that. He's talking about revamping his show, and so I'm doing some video stuff. We had another thing that I did was we had a big telethon here in LA for the Mayor's Fund, and I did a bunch of videos for some people and been recording. And I mean, there's something every day. I've just got projects and songs and recording, and
that's great.
It's crazy.
Do you have a studio in your house? This is the studio. This is
it. This is it. It's called a bedroom, but this is where we do Peter's radio show, which he makes the joke on the air that it's my baronial estate, and but this is where we've been doing all the radio shows,
very
for
cool.
the last 2.5 years. So yeah,
very cool.
I just sit here and make noise and do a lot of stuff.
I love that. Well, I'm glad you're staying busy. Timmy, what about you, buddy?
Right in the wheelhouse of the Flower Power Cruise, I've been working on a 1972 Myers-Manx style dune buggy. I've been restoring it, and I've been driving around in it lately, just kind of testing and tuning. But I was doing a whole lot of Facebook posts and stuff lately, or not lately, up to about the beginning of April, and pulled this dune buggy out of retirement, and pulled the interior out and rhino lined the floor, and we've been tuning and testing on the motor. And I mean, it's I'll post up some photos when I'm done with it. But truly, you talk about in the nature of the Flower Power, it is right in their wheelhouse. A little Volkswagen fiberglass Myers-Manx style dune buggy. It's not a real Myers-Manx, but that and another thing, when I'd sit down, I'd look at one of my cabinets and go, just one. Because we've been off so much, 49, 50 days now. We've been quarantined, or everybody locked out. One cabinet, just one. I got about 15 or so. I just take everything out and only put back in, basically like that little Oriental woman said, if you don't, you pick it up if you don't love it or whatever. But if I haven't touched it in years, all I'm going to tell you is Goodwill's going to get a big hit from me, because there are things like, man, I talk about your ultimate pack rat. So I would do that.
What's the coolest thing you've found so far?
The coolest, believe it or not, it's in the garage, and it's some parts and tools that I forgot that I had. Two things happens out of that. One, I save a fortune of not having to go buy another one. But, so I've got a massive garage, and my brother, we share the garage, and it's just full of motorcycles and Volkswagen parts and muscle car parts. And I've got a great big huge lift. You can drive the car up on it, raise it up, and do all that stuff. But the garage is like our garage mahal. And then I've got my deck. I'll be 60 in a couple of years, and anymore I try to work smarter, not harder. So as much time as we've had off, like I've been working on the dune buggy and doing a cabinet, or a counter, or drawers, just pull out a whole set of drawers kind of thing. But a couple of stairs a day on my deck, just 1 or 2 stairs. You got to pull out 9 nails per plank, which is a real PITA. And then once you pull that out, you got to saw it. And if I only do just two, and by the end of this quarantine, I'll have done the whole deck, and I really put in a whole lot of work. So yeah, but busy, but using my head at the same time. Try not to hurt myself, because man, I go at stuff like a bull in a china shop, and all of a sudden I'm laid up in bed for 3 days going, why did I do that? Not enough years left in this life, not enough life left in these years. Got to go smart, not, got to go at it like an older guy, not the young one.
I'll give you $100, and I'll give George $100 if you come to my house and work on my car and paint my house.
Yeah. Listen.
How about we paint your car and work on your house?
There you go.
How about we show up and paint Peter Asher?
Yes. Peter would love that. Are you kidding me? Oh my. Miss Cara Lee, inside joke, friends. Cara Lee, what do you got going these days?
I'm baking like everyone else. I've been
Baking.
actually, and I used to bake all the time, like when I was younger, but I haven't baked in years. So I've been baking bread. I haven't done the sourdough like everyone else, but I've done the banana bread. I did a carrot bread last week. And then I'm going to do some kind of apple crisp bread. That's the next on my list.
Oh.
I made cookies, and I also teach little munchkins. So of course we're not at school.
What do you
right
teach?
now.
Tell them what you teach.
So I teach vocals, obviously, to the little kids, K through 5, here in California in underserved schools. It's private charter school, but for underserved kids. And so we've been teaching online, and it's been super challenging because when we started, some of our kids didn't have laptops, some of our kids didn't have internet. So our first few weeks were trying to make all that happen. And of course, here in California, our schools is one of the schools where the kids depend on the meals. Sure. So they've been rolling that out still. The parents stop by every Tuesday and Thursday and get as many meals as they need. So that's been really cool. Nice. And challenging to teach vocals over the internet, especially. Yesterday I taught kindergarten and grade 1, so that was
how do you keep I was going to say, how do you keep attention of kindergarten and grade 1 with vocals of all things?
Well, the good news is you can mute them all.
That's fair. Unlock one at a time. Little Billy, it's your turn. Yeah.
That's literally what I have to do. They have to sing solos because they can't all sing together because of the latency, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
It's, and then I've been doing what everybody else has been doing, trying to organize. And, when you're in your place this many hours a day, you're like, oh, this really replaced. I didn't know to recognize things. These drapes really could use a redo.
It's interesting hearing each of you say these things, because I was reading something that it was as an op-ed from a wonderful writer, and the person was saying, for my entire adult life, I've said, if I had time, I would do X if I had time, right? And now all of a sudden you have time, and all those things you used to say, if I could, or if I had, or I would, you realize a lot of those you won't. You still won't. Some of them you will, but it helps you prioritize because now you have time, and we're still going, after the quarantine. I'll get to it after the quarantine. Like, I just don't, I don't want to interrupt my marathon TV session. I can't, and I found it really interesting though, to think about it that way, that how many things people are going, oh, if I had time, I'd be all over that. I'd totally rebuild that buggy if I had time, right? Yeah, I'd totally redo my drapes if I had time. And
But what time to watch Tiger King?
Oh yeah, well, priorities. Have you guys all watched the phenomenon?
I have not seen one episode. I had enough to Roy.
Neither have I.
Not one.
Wow. You did, Jason.
And I'm not interested.
It doesn't tickle my fancy at all.
Either. Well, train crashes don't interest me at all, but I still watch it when it's going on in front of me.
I held off for a really long time. I gave in.
Oh, yeah. What was that, Cara?
I said I held off for a long time. I wasn't like in that first week when everyone was watching it, but then I was running out of stuff, and I was like,
we just watched
all my girlfriends are talking about it. I've got to know what's going on.
I don't like being, if something's really good, bad, or otherwise turned into for lack of better phrases, a cultural phenomenon at the moment. If it really does go viral, eventually I have to check it out. I'm just like, all right, what is going on? And I'm typically disappointed, as I was again, but you have to watch it. It's utterly fascinating. It's not good. It's awful. And I apologize for folks watching that loved it. It's awful. It's absolutely atrocious.
This is a Attack of the Killer Tomatoes awful.
It is, yes. And it is, and it just keeps getting weirder. Every time you think this is shenanigans, it goes another level, and you just go, what is happening in Florida? Like, or Georgia, or wherever this is.
You've done enough interviews.
Yeah.
In your opinion, how much of it is fake for the camera, and how much of it you think is real?
I think a lot of it is fake, obviously. When someone does something like that, you can't put a spotlight on someone who craves attention at that level and not expect them to go to a level above what they, or four levels above, right? And there's outros and extras where they're talking about that, the cameras would turn on and he would, Joe himself, Joe Exotic is the guy's name, would turn into this other creature where he would get demonstrative and scream at people, and he'd fire people just to do it on camera. And then the camera would end and he'd go, "You're not fired, calm down, like get back."
Johnny Stewart, ring a bell, George? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Johnny would do that at rehearsals, man. I remember that.
I don't mean to cut you off, Timmy, but the only thing I was going to add was the guy who created the show, or who started the show, he just did a post interview after, recently, and said he actually left out of the whole documentary a lot of stuff that would have made it actually unwatchable, because it is so dramatic, it's so over the top, and it's so vile in a lot of ways. The amount of racism that this guy is just spouting off, and they let him go with most of the language because it's a documentary, but the vile nature of some of his commentary about men and women and, minorities and this color and that color and blah, blah, blah. He just goes to the nth degree on everything. And he said he actually had to leave a lot of it out because there was no way they could have aired it anywhere if he would have left.
You know what? Now that being said, there's 2 movies on that's a Netflix show, right?
Yeah.
There are 2 movies on there right now that go so over the top with the racist and nasty. Django Unchained and The Hateful Eight are insane.
Yeah.
How could it be any worse than that?
Because I guess when you draw the line between fiction done for entertainment one way or another versus somebody spouting off a real life opinion, one person is hateful, the other person is trying to be entertaining, whether you love it or hate it,
Gotcha.
Those are movies done for entertainment versus, that's my opinion. I mean,
No, fair.
I don't know anything about it other than what I've heard and what I've gleaned from Facebook posts or whatever, but it's sort of like a redneck soap opera that's sort of macabre, but it is in the same area of Florida. I don't know if it's a bad reflection on Florida or what, but a few years ago, from that same area, right around Tampa, a fella won the lottery, and he won a few $1 million in the lottery, and his wife and her boyfriend killed him and they found him under a patio slab. Look that one up. That's the same. Yeah.
That's Plant City. We drove by that over there where the sinkholes are.
Way to bring us down, George.
No, but it's the same thing. You're wondering, hey, who did it? Whatever. It just takes a little bit of money or a little bit of fame to motivate. It's like it's like Fargo.
Well, but amen. Go ahead.
The Tiger King, Dr. Antol. Now, I mean, that's a
that's a whole nother show. That could be a whole nother show.
He's about 3.5, 4 miles as the crow flies to the coastal waterway. That's where he lives.
Yeah,
he lives right back here. Met him one night at a bar called Scotty.
He's in it a bunch.
Met the whole crew. Interesting group. That crew that he's got.
He's in it a bunch. He's in the show.
Yeah. Dr. Ansel, I met him. He's a cool cat. But he's the one. Whenever you see an elephant, somebody playing with an elephant in the waterway or whatever, it's back here at Dr. Ansel. He's got a big estate.
They open up his story a little bit. Timmy, you should watch, because when they open up his story, you might sing a little bit different tune there, brother man.
All right, you're intriguing me a little bit, Jason. I'll say that.
I'm telling you.
I don't have time to watch it.
If you've ever seen something ridiculous happen in real life, everyone starts to turn away, but goes, like, you can't turn all the way away from tragedy like that, and that's what it is. So, anyway, let's not spend our whole hour discussing the Tiger King. Okay, so Cara and I have seen it. Probably have. Cara, I'm assuming we share relatively the same opinion here on what we're watching.
Yes.
Okay. And Jeff, George, and Timmy are right now going to Netflix to fire it up for tonight.
Siegfried Roy
quick
on the
6
spot,
hours,
right?
Yeah. No, way worse. Way worse.
Wow.
Than that.
All right.
Yeah.
Hey, I watched the Irishman with Robert De Niro and Al Pacino.
Excellent.
It was a long movie.
Excellent.
I don't want to give it away, but Jimmy Hoffa doesn't make it.
I saw the Titanic. Similar story. I don't want to ruin it for anybody. Yeah.
That's the old
spoiler alert, you guys.
That's the old cruise ship joke. Hey, at 11 o'clock, we're going to be showing the movie, The Poseidon Adventure, but we're going to show it backwards so it has a happy ending.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. There was room on the door for Jack. That's all I'm saying in Titanic. Anyway, it's neither here nor there.
Shelley
Jeff,
Winters was hot.
Tim, George, reach across and smack Tim. I know you guys are sitting next to each other. Stop it.
No.
Jeff, question for you. How is Peter doing? How's he feeling about everything? And I know obviously most of our watchers know him and love him, whether they haven't seen him even if they haven't seen him on our cruises. If you have seen him on our cruises, obviously Peter's a huge part of our family. He's the host of multiple cruises for us and a dear friend to many of us. And of course, a very, very close to you. How's he doing?
He's doing great. He's got a Father Christmas beard now.
Yeah.
Talking about growing facial hair. It's like your beard, except it's white.
Yeah.
It's very white.
I can't wait. I can't wait.
I don't know if he's going to keep it. Have no idea. But
wow, you got a photo? Did you get a photo with your phone?
No, I've taken a couple videos of him.
Okay,
we'll get one.
Yeah, wow.
Have you guys? It's like the David Letterman thing. Have you seen Letterman?
Oh yeah,
he's really got a white beard, doesn't he? I mean,
it's Letterman's is like Letterman's not quite. He's down, chesticle area, but
he went full Amish. He went full Amish.
Full Amish.
Full white, exactly. The whole 9 yards. Yeah, Letterman and Jim Carrey's done it now too. Jim Carrey.
Jim went kind of a little bit left. He went a little askew there on it, didn't he?
Well, no, right now. I'm not talking about Jim over the last. I'm talking about right now. He just had another big movie, Sonic the Hedgehog, and a couple other things, and he was clean shaven, and now all of a sudden he's back with this monster beard.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's
the quarantine beard.
It is. It's the quarantine beard. I only know what I speak of here. If
you had that on Malt Shop. I mean,
not at this level though. It's pretty beardy. I always have a beard. have a beard. Yeah. Okay. It's actually funny because I've had a beard for probably, or some semblance of a beard, whether it's relatively close or bushier like now. I've had a beard. Probably for 12 years now straight. I mean, I've shaved it once in the 12 years. My wife has seen me without a beard once, type deal. And it never fails. Every cruise we go on, someone comes up, you grew a beard.
Oh, right.
I've literally had the beard for most of my adult life. I mean, I'm 40, but I've had it for ages. And you grew a beard since last flower party. No, I had this.
Was Joel Mason your inspiration on that?
Joel is not inspiration for many things in life.
Can we call you on that? Thank you.
Yes, you can. I text him that regularly. For anybody watching that doesn't know, Joel Mason is another one of our fantastic acts that kind of fits in the Tim, Cara, George fashion of being a tribute artist and also a solo artist. He doesn't have to, I say this to all, and Jeff, you don't pay tribute necessarily. So to George, Tim, and Cara, and Joel, who's not here with us right now, who do tributes to people. So you will actually get into character and play the character. For the folks that haven't been on a cruise with you, you will do full tributes to, like George and Tim. You guys you do Mick and Joe. You do Mick Jagger, Joe Cocker. You do the Blues Brothers. You do Buddy and the Bopper, among many others, obviously, which we don't break out on our cruises always. Cara does Janice, you do Cher, and then you do tributes to a lot of the divas of the different eras. Stevie Nicks, thank you. Yes, Stevie Nicks. Yeah. Yep. And Joel does an Eagles tribute. He does the ZZ Top tribute. He does
that ZZ Twist. That's
ZZ
amazing.
Twist, yeah. We just had it. Elton John is his original claim to fame. And the reason I bring any of that up is, Jeff said something in the beginning that I think is important, and that's that one of the cool things, and Cara and I actually talked about this on the phone not long ago, one of the cool things about our cruises is people start to like the act that you play isn't the reason, and Cara, to use your words, it's not the reason people come to the shows in a lot of ways. People will go to a Cara Lee pays tribute to Cher show because it's Cara Lee. They will go to George and Timmy do tribute to XYZ because it's George and Timmy, not necessarily, no disrespect to the characters you're playing to.
Right,
but
right.
that's one of the great things about having George, Tim, Cara, and again, Joel, who's not here, as part of the family, that on our Star Vista Live cruises is, we intentionally include people, and we've got other tribute artists as well. And I don't mean to slight any of them. They're all fantastic, but you guys being the regulars that do multiple cruises, a big reason for that is because of the relationships you create with our guests. And because you as individuals, again, to steal what Jeff was saying, are so great on your own. You don't need the act to be great. The act is nice. It's fun. It fits the theme. It's character driven. It's a great piece of the cruise, but you guys are really good on your own. You don't need that. And that's a huge part of these cruises.
Let me share something with you about Joel Mason. When I first met Joel, it was on the Malt Shop cruise during Hurricane Sandy, and that was a very tough cruise logistically. And Joel was like an assistant to the cruise director.
He was helping out.
Great guy. I had no clue that he was a performer. And when I finally saw him, I've said all of this to Joel. I was so blown away at what a pro and what just a class act. Unbelievable entertainer, pianist, guitar player. That guitar,
he plays a bunch of different stuff.
That's all he's got. Holy Moses. And man, just years and years. I am a Joel Mason fan because he is just phenomenal. But I just knew him as the guy that, we'd introduce acts or he'd tell me my schedule or whatever. Hell of a guy. But the first time I saw him do his act, I'm like, oh my God, where did this cat come from? I mean, he was just terrific.
And that's what I love it. 100%. I mean, I've known Joel for 17 years now.
I've known him longer than you then.
Yeah, you've known him longer than me.
Really?
Cara's known him longer in terms of land life. I met him on ships. We kind of started in the ship game together. And again, we're not going to make this all about Joel, but I say that because I want to echo it into you guys again and say that, as talented as Joel is, that is something, again, that's vital. It's to play tribute to someone is wonderful. Some people need the act to be good. Some people are great and just need the act to as a vehicle to be themselves, and you guys, Joel, you guys all use the act as a vehicle to be yourself. Use it as a vehicle to get Cara Lee in front of people. You don't use it as a vehicle just to be Cher. People get to know you as Cara, even as Cher. People know you guys as, the George and Timmy, even though you're Blues Brothers in the moment or whatever you are. And that's a huge part of what we do. It's the cherry that brings people back. I'm really convinced of that.
Timmy and I, we even say, and we've talked about this, Jason, Timmy and I, before we go on, we say, do you want to do the Blues Brothers or do you want to go out and entertain these people?
Yeah.
And it's always the latter. And we go so over the top and we do things that are so much maybe Blues Brothers-esque, but that are not in the movie, that are way out in left field, the different bits and stuff. And then people come up to us after the show and go, wow, you guys were just like them.
Yeah. Like, no, we weren't.
I've discussed it with George. It's amazing. People's memories of their favorite acts are much more spectacular than the actual act was itself. It's like, wow, a lady figure goes off POW, but they remember a 4th of July finale. You're like, wow. So that you got to be that atom bomb instead of that little firecracker.
Yeah.
So because that's what they remember.
It's very true.
Funniest thing.
Jeff, you were talking about the Hall of Fame band earlier. Tell us a little bit how you guys built a band that, it's unbelievable. And I know I'm speaking for these 3 acts on with us, and I speak for Joel as well, and all the other. You guys are truly world class. You've brought a level to a level of professionalism, a level of performance value to these cruises that we didn't have. It's one thing to put the Caras, the George, the Tims, the Joels out there to track, which is bordering on disrespectful to the level of talent that they all have. It's another thing to put it out, to put these talented folks out there in front of you guys who, I mean, you blow people away. Tell us a little bit about the building of the Hall of Fame band.
Well, how do I even start? About
In the beginning.
In the beginning, about 25 years ago, it was New Year's Eve, sometime
Mm.
around 1997, I believe.
Oh my, okay.
And I was hired to do a New Year's Eve gig, and my friend Bill Sinkay, who's the bass player, was on the gig, and that's when we met. And we did a little bit of work then, and then sometime about 5 or 6 years later, I ran into him at Whole Foods, and he needed a keyboard player for a band that he was in. So I joined that for a little while. And then we started working together. And when the whole Peter and Gordon reuniting situation came up, I was asked to put together the band. And so I got Bill for that. So Bill was part of the original Peter and Gordon band. So that was the basis of the Hall of Fame band. And he and I do duo gigs together. We've done thousands of gigs together, and we still do. And Christopher, the drummer, was in one of those early bands, so we had him, and he, in and out, and he kept coming in. And then about 3 years ago, I was working on a benefit, and I met Rob Bonfilio. And Rob, who's the guitar player, Rob is married to Carney Wilson. He's now in Brian Wilson's band. He's also been in the Beach Boys band. He's had a very successful pop career as well. And he and I became good friends. And I had a band that played all Badfinger songs, not called Badfinger, but a sort of a tribute band. Let's do that tribute thing. And it was a 4-piece band. And I was over at Rob's house one day, and he had a Badfinger album sitting like on the top of his recording console. And it's an album called Wish You Were Here, which not a lot of people know about. It was basically the last Badfinger album. And I said, "What is that doing here?" He goes, "It's one of my favorite records." And I went, "You're in my band." And this was, I mean, there was no let's get together and play. He just, and then he's just, he's been with us ever since, basically. So we've got guys that have, Bill played with Neil Diamond. Toured the world with Neil Diamond.
This was, I was going to say, tell us a little bit about the resumes, because that's unbelievable.
Bill and I were in the Peter and Gordon band. For all you Flower Power cruisers, we were actually the American pacemakers for Jerry Marsden. We did 2 tours with Jerry. We played with Mike Pender from the Searchers. We played with Terry Sylvester from the Hollies. We played with Denny Lane. What else have we done?
I mean, you just mentioned.
Well, and then now I work with Al Jardine from the Beach Boys, which I'm trying to convince Al that we should hopefully maybe sometime when the Beach Boys aren't doing it, for us to come and do our little trio on Flower Power, because people would love that. And a lot of the cruisers, when we played in Maryland and Georgia and New York, a lot of the Flower Power cruisers have come to the Al shows. Yeah. So I do that. Christopher plays with Dina Carter, who's a big country artist, who people will know. And again, Rob now is in the Brian Wilson band. And he's also the musical director for Wilson Phillips, since Carney Wilson's his wife. So
fancy that.
So we've done a couple, and I work for a guy named Peter Asher. I don't know if that gets anything anywhere.
Oh, Asher. God bless him.
Jeff. Yeah. Hey, Jeff, did you drop a few names in show business?
Yeah. Well, he wanted me to drop some names.
I did. I encouraged it. I opened that door.
Hey, I'm not bragging, but I was hiding eggs back this past Easter. I was working for Peter Cottontail. Is that worth anything?
Yes.
And did you recently did a fundraiser, did you not? You did a fundraiser with Peter and some of the guys. Tell us a little bit about it.
Well, we did. Peter did it sort of separately. This was the mayor's fund for Mayor Garcetti here in Los Angeles. And there's a group called the Get Together Foundation that I do a lot of benefits for, that I do some musical directing. And they did this big telethon thing, a 9.5-hour event. And Peter, I did a video of Peter here in the studio singing. I did a song of my own, a video for that. There's a group called the Honeys, who is Carney Wilson's mother, who is Brian Wilson's ex-wife. And me and Rob and I did a thing for them. And we raised about $100,000 in the course of that.
It was
we were just, we were just a drop in the bucket of all the people that they had. Cara saw a lot of it.
I was going to say the Cowsills were there, right? I mean, wasn't Smokey there? I mean,
Smokey didn't sing.
Was on there.
Yeah.
Smokey didn't sing, but he did an announcement, and then Rob did his own song too.
Yeah.
And
that was great.
Oh, and Bill
was that one that
hosting on
that's the one he posted up on Facebook, that original that he wrote during his quarantine?
Yep.
Yeah, that was beautiful. God.
Yeah. So it was fun.
It was cool.
Oh, that's very cool. I'm sure I speak on behalf of a lot of folks when I say thank you for doing that. That's wonderful.
Oh yeah.
Our pleasure.
Do you guys find that and I know I kind of asked you what you've been up to, and we kind of went through it, but on a same question on a slightly different vein, do you guys find that your creativity is sparked right now, or do you feel, for lack of or for use of a horrendous term, or do you feel constipated in that fashion in terms of your creativity?
When when the whole thing started, a lot of people were going, it's really hard. I know I should be creative and do stuff, but they were so depressed about the situation and all that. I didn't really go through something like that. And once I just started in, I've actually been more creative than I've been in a decade.
That's awesome.
When you asked me what I was doing, I've got songs that I'm finishing that have been sitting around doing videos for the song, because my friend Bill Sinkay, who we've been talking about, has been directing and producing a documentary. That's another story. I won't get into that, but
we'll bring Bill on later.
Yeah, but he asked me to do the video editing on it. So I started getting my video editing chops back up. And so I've been doing videos, and and I wake up in the middle of the night and I go, oh, if I did this, if I plug this in there, I can get that to sound better.
Yeah.
I got an idea for an album cover. I'm going to do the album cover. So
Google is your best worst friend.
Yeah, no, it's
yeah.
No, I don't know about anybody else, but I'm actually having a great time.
How about you, Georgie? You finding some creative sparks, or are you struggling with creativity right now?
No, I force myself to practice. Come in my music room, I pick up an acoustic guitar. I'll do what I did when I was a kid, learning music, put some of my favorite music on CDs and play along. Try to keep my chops up, sing a bit. I have been fooling around with a couple of hooks for some like quarantine songs. For me, I really try to stay positive and moving forward. Just a lot of things that in the last few years, especially, that have happened to me or that I've gone through.
You've been through some things.
But it really, and Timmy knows exactly what I'm talking about, and all you guys do. Moving forward has become more important than just about anything in my life. So I think it's healthy to do so. I try to go outside as much as possible, but at least an hour a day. I find myself sometimes when my wife and son have gone to bed, and I can come back in here and just play some music. And what's really surprising to me, my regular schedule, I would leave Thursday, do gigs over the weekend, be back Sunday night or Monday, and then you have to do all the honey-do list stuff, mow the lawn or something like that.
Paint the house.
Now that paint the house. But now that I do have the time, it really, an hour goes by so fast. I'll look at my watch, it'll be almost midnight, and everybody will have been asleep for 2 hours, and I'm just in here jamming away or just playing. Yeah. And I want to do a lot of my friends, Gilbert Bonilla and Artie Saraf from the Fab Four, they do their own podcast, Tommy Treadway too. And I want to do that. I'm a little bit intimidated because a lot of these guys are really good solo performers. But the bit that I did about the K-Tel record deal, all the hits of the coronavirus, and Bob Dylan sings the Beatles, I like doing stuff like that. So I'm trying, and I'm like a thoroughbred racehorse. When they open the gates, I want to be ready to go. I want to hit the ground running.
Timmy, are you finding some creativity in amongst your cabinets and your stairs and your buggy?
You know, in all honesty, this ought to scare the hell out of you, Jeff. I've been listening to any song that I listen to, anything. Some of the most obscure, just even top 40 stuff, not top 40 pop, but like the alternative. I try to sing different harmonies to it, studying the harmonies. You know, going, wait a minute, where is that? And actually blend, you know, just working on it. If nothing else, I've never done that before. But I found myself doing it. I was like, I just, anything that's playing on the Killers, they knew that new song called Throwing Caution to the Wind or whatever, or Throwing Caution. And I found myself, you know, the regular harmonies are already there. We already know that. But trying to major some minor things, you're like, that's odd. And I've never done that in my life. So as far as creativity, there's that. But when it comes to, I'm going to back George up. I feel like Secretariat when she was in her prime, and they've locked me up for a month and a half. And all I want to do, I want to rip the hair off my mane when the gate drops. Because that's all I ever loved to do was the show. That's been taken away for a month and a half. Yeah. Man, I am going to look like the Tasmanian devil in a black suit and tie when I hit that stage again.
George, you might want to book your first act somewhere real obscure that you don't need to go back to, just in case Chris Farley up here gets hold of something.
You know what I was thinking about not long ago, not long before the lockdown. Tim and I went to go see our friend, the Righteous Brothers, Bill Medley.
Yeah.
We were so excited.
And Bucky.
And Bucky and Bill, we just had a great visit. And Bill said to us, he said, you know, I'm only going to do this for another 2 years. And we went to the show. It was great. I mean, golly, unbelievable show.
Still sounds
great.
Yeah.
That's what I think about sometimes. I think about these guys, there's a limit, and we could be out there performing, but we're just at home spinning our wheels, or we're just waiting for this to be over. And I feel bad for Bill, because I don't think it's the kind of a thing where you can add it on the other end, oh, well, now I'll do 2 years. You know what I mean? He still sounds great.
Be losing some time, and not losing the artist, but losing some performance time from certain artists.
And not to be morbid, but with me, I work with a lot of old guys. And, and here I'll drop another name. This is
George and Tim.
So I had my birthday was last week, and one of my
happy birthday.
That's not what that was about. It's not what that was about.
That's the absolute name drop.
Right.
Say it's your birthday.
I share my birthday with two people, and actually I have to bring up one of them. One of them is CJ, who our stage manager from the cruises, is my birthday brother, so it was his birthday too. And so if he's watching, I want to throw that in.
They will be, because his lovely significant other, Sydney does a lot of our editing. So exactly. Sydney will be watching this. She'll call him in.
So he'll know that I mentioned it. But my other birthday brother is a guy named Chuck Lavelle, who plays keyboards with the Rolling Stones. And so Chuck and I were out, because we talk to each other on our birthday. That's what we do. And one of the things that we really think about, and unfortunately it's true, especially with Flower Power and Malt Shop, we're losing time, because most of these artists are not that young. Yeah. I mean,
they're
some of us on the screen are in our 60s, and we're the young guys.
I know.
And we're the young guys. And so, it's like with Bill Medley, it's like losing, like Flower Power. We lost the opportunity for another year with Peter Noon, because I don't know if they're going to get Peter for the next one, but they already, you guys already had everybody booked for the next Flower Power. So, you miss that time, and you never know with old people. Yeah. And sometimes they just retire.
The good news is I just did an interview with Peter Noon, and I think if Tim believes he's a thoroughbred racehorse, then Peter Noon's probably the jockey on the back of that racehorse.
Exactly. No,
Noon runs up and down stairs. Peter's good friends with Brittany, my wife.
I've seen him do it. I've seen him do it. I said, dang, that's Peter running up down those decks.
He won't take elevators. He doesn't like elevators, hates elevators. So
I wrapped around him getting it.
Yeah.
Just him.
Yeah. He and Brittany run a lot of stairs. It's pretty funny. Cara, I do not want to bypass you on the creativity question. You're obviously busy teaching, doing a lot of stuff. Are you finding that it's helping your creativity? Are you finding that this downtime has got you focused on other stuff? Where are you landing on this?
I mean, there's a lot of, like anyone else who's working through this, there's a lot of learning curves and a lot of personal self-growth and development and personal development, all that. But I also, it's interesting what George said about the podcast, because I have had an interview show that I've wanted to do. And just like what George said, I'm intimidated, but I had the whole thing written and guests, everything planned. And I reached out to my friend who was going to do it with me a few weeks ago. And I'm like,
yeah, now's the time.
It's intimidating now that it's on Zoom beside someone. What do you think? Should we start this now? And he's like, absolutely. So I'm going to get that started and not be intimidated anymore.
Is it something where you have a name for it that you want to share, or is it still a workshop?
Well, I have a name. It's called Everyday People. Everyday People Who Do Extraordinary Things. So I'm sharing it now. There you go. Now I have to do it.
Jeff does not care, for the record. You just caused Jeff Ross to stand up. Oh.
I have a theme song already, though.
Jeff's going to write the hook for it right now. I just saw George.
I had to play Everyday People.
No, that's awesome.
George.
You guys, I got to sing and write my own theme song.
We're ready.
Was that different strokes for different folks?
Who needs Family Stone? Yep. Come on. Okay, now Jeff's got a guitar. Let's go, boys. Okay, come on.
God, there you
come
go.
on. If you're going to do it, do it. If you're going to do it, do it. Don't fake it.
Don't tease me.
Count them in, George.
Me.
2, 3, 4. I am everyday people.
Sometimes I'm right, and sometimes I'm wrong.
There we go.
My own beliefs are in my future. Makes no difference what food I'm in. Cara, you can't do it because of the latency.
I know.
Insane.
I really can't do it. Trust me.
Like, Cara, 2, 3, 4. Ah!
You really can't do it.
Well, I did listen, I'm sure the Family Stone will help you out if you need it. You guys are awesome, man. Well, listen, I know that's been about an hour of chat. I know you guys all got things to do, like painting houses and, taking care of Peter Asher. So people are going to be watching this on Mother's Day. Let's go around the room and give a quick shout out to those that need to get shout outs. Timmy, who do you want to make shouts to?
I'm going to wish a happy Mother's Day to every mother in a nursing home out there that can't be with their loved ones this Mother's Day.
Yeah.
Happy Mother's Day to all of the mothers out there that can't be and cannot hug their children, the grandchildren in person. Happy Mother's Day.
Timmy, you should have gone last. That was that wasn't fair.
Nobody can follow that.
Yeah, you take 2.
Yeah.
No, I'll tell you what. My mom's in a nursing home. That's
I'm in Canada because I can't visit her. They were supposed to come visit me and look after the cat while I was on Flower Power, which we couldn't go, so I didn't get to see them. I won't get to see them this summer probably. So shout out to my mom in Canada.
Georgie.
I want to give a shout out. Of course, everybody that cruises knows my mom, Char, but this is Char's mother. This is my grandmother.
Oh.
And I want to
With
give
Buddy
her
Holly.
Yeah.
Well, she knew Buddy Holly. That's
Exactly.
fantastic.
But she's in heaven, and I want to give a shout out to my grandmother, Alma. And she was the one that would tell me when I was a kid, she would say, she was from Oklahoma, and she'd say, boy, get that guitar and pick a little for Grandma. And I would play Johnny Cash. I would play Johnny Cash for her, and she is a very big part of why I'm in show business today, because she was my first and best audience. And she used to come to Las Vegas, and Elvis would get down on one knee, and we'd get her a front row seat, and she'd get the scarf every time. In fact, that's one of the great memories. When she passed, we went through she had a drawer in her house called her treasure drawer. And we were going through a bunch of things, as you do when someone passes. And we opened up her treasure drawer, and there were all of these Elvis scarves that a different Elvis, and they would sign them after the show. And they all called her Grandma, and they were all rolled up and in perfect order, and they were her treasures. So I always think about that. Yeah. Happy Mother's Day.
Jeff, how about you, buddy?
I guess I'll have to do a shout out to my wife, who's the mother of my two daughters, and to my oldest daughter, who's the mother of my grandson. So, and to George's mom, because we all love George's mom.
Char, man. Char is one of the greats.
Happy Mother's Day, Nanny.
Happy Mother's Day, Char.
Well, I'm sure that, great messages from all of you. And Timmy, I couldn't agree more with what you're saying. I think there's a lot of, we're all watching social media now. Oh, there it is on the hog. And I don't mean that on the bike, on the motorcycle.
Yeah, that's Mom on a Harley.
I love that. Oh, that's great. We're all watching social media these days, and we're seeing there's a lot of bad news out there. There's a lot of unfortunate things, but there's a lot of cute stuff going on. There's a lot of people doing some wonderful things right now. And, I think people need it. I saw something the other day where a gentleman got lifted up in a cherry picker to the 3rd level of a nursing home so he could talk to his wife through the window.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, there's a bunch of those.
Brilliant.
I saw a dad bring his brand new baby to the window, and the baby put it, the brand new baby's hands are on the window, and his mom is on the other side of the window in the nursing home with her hand. Messages like that and things like that are just really, really sweet. And so
I saw the drive-by. Did you see the drive-by to the nursing home?
Yeah.
Everybody waving at their mothers or loved ones. That was brilliant.
And I think that's probably ultimately the message during any of this, while we're all practicing social distancing, and most importantly, for the mothers who are susceptible, those that are immunocompromised, or those that are a little older, and those that, to your point, Tim, can't be around their loved ones right now. And I think they have a lot of kids. I think all those moms that don't have their own children around them, I'm sure right now that all the positivity in the world, is being flooded towards all those moms. And
hey,
we wish all of them.
Just so you know, I'm going to interject this. Every Wednesday, the nursing home calls me at 11:30 in the morning, and I do a FaceTime with my mom, because that's how they're doing their social distancing. The nursing homes have told us that it's actually good for their well-being. It helps their patients to do that. So every Wednesday, 3 of her sons, we FaceTime with Mom.
I was just going to say that with my grandmother, we're all trying to stay as distant as we can. She's not in a nursing home, but she's mid 80s, and she gets around pretty well, but she's still lives alone, still does pretty well, but not up on technology and things like that. But we actually installed a FaceTime type of app. It's not FaceTime, but WhatsApp is the app. We installed WhatsApp on a phone of hers. She has a jitterbug, I think it's called. It's a phone that's designed for it's not an iPhone. It's designed for people that need a little technological help, but still want the ability to have a newer phone. And she can't use it to call out because she doesn't quite have all the buttons down, but we can video in and she can answer because it's just a 1-button answer.
Oh, that's
so
brilliant.
We actually downloaded it for her on her phone, and now we all video in, and it's just all she has to do. She knows she just has to hit the green button. And she's, like I said, she's still sharp. She's just A lot of folks aren't technical. A lot of young folks don't know how to work it. Yeah, it's not. I'm not taking a shot. Yeah, so
if you can't be there, it certainly is a close second.
Yeah, it is.
You know,
it really, really is.
Well, I want to say one more thing.
Always.
And I know Timmy just had a birthday, and Jeff just had a birthday. My birthday's coming up on the 14th, and I know for the last couple of years, my wife was saying, well, you know, your 60th birthday is coming up. We ought to do something special. And I had all these grandiose plans. I'm going to be in the yard pulling weeds.
As you deserve to be.
More importantly, George, what kind of weeds?
Yeah, the most.
No, there was a time, but those days are gone.
Pull some weeds and we can have Cara Lee bake again.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Cara, if Cara could make me some brownies with those California weeds, that would be good.
You already look like a damn mess. We don't need to start doing that. You don't need that. Look at you. You already look like a college kid down there.
Oh.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. And obviously, I know all of us want to send a big shout out to all the cruises that you're a part of. So, Malt Shop,
absolutely.
Flower Power, 70s Rock and Romance, Disco.
So my point is, we're going to celebrate whenever we get together. We're going to celebrate everything. Mother's Day, birthdays, just celebrate being out of the house.
Isn't that the truth? And I'm sure significant others will celebrate all of us being out of the houses as well, at least for the guys on this. Well, listen, I've kept you guys for an hour, and you're phenomenal. I thank you so much for taking the time to be with us. And before we jump off, I'd ask one last thing of each of you. And Timmy, I'll start with you. I know we did a Mother's Day shout, but we're obviously going through something unique here with COVID and a pandemic around the world. What would you share with folks that are watching? We got fans, we got people that are upbeat, but we got a lot of people that are concerned. We got a lot of people that are scared and fighting off the bad feelings and the bad thoughts. Anything you'd like to share with folks?
Come straight out of the Flower Power era. All you need is love. Period. All you need is love. After the gates drop and we're all out again, treat each other a little nicer. All we need is love.
Amen. Cara Lee?
Reach out to people. I know, like, there's a lot of single girls, my friends here in LA, a lot of us are living alone, and we make sure, constant contact. And it's funny, I was talking to Jeff last week, and he's like, oh, okay, I can take you off my list. And I'm like, I'm on your check-in list? And he's like, yes, of course. And I go, yay! And then I was like, oh man, I better make sure, like, I have one in my head, but let me make sure I'm not forgetting anybody, because there's some people out there, like you said, that are struggling, and some people have good days when someone else is having a bad day. So check in.
Jeff?
I would say don't give into the fear. It's really easy. It goes along with what Timmy said, and since we're dealing, where this is being broadcast for all the cruisers, music. It's when people say to me, well, where's the cruise going? I say, I don't know. I don't care.
I don't care.
Nobody else cares either. It's about the music. And so, so keep it about the music. Don't give into the fear, just go listen to music that you love, that makes you feel good. And, things will work themselves out, and just be smart.
Amen. Yeah, I think that's the one that goes without saying. Georgie, what about you, buddy? Take us home, George.
I would say keep the faith and bet the farm. This too shall pass. Stay positive. Hug your children. Appreciate that person. Take deep breaths. Get outside. It's going to pass. It's going to pass.
And I'll echo what Jeff said. And George, when we chatted, a few weeks back, you had made a point during our chat to say, if everyone we get locked into the news, right? We get locked because we're inside. We have the TV on in the corner, and the news comes on or the radio comes on, right? And I'm not here to chastise what news is fake news and who's good and who's bad, and it doesn't matter. All of it trends towards shock and awe, whether it's good, bad, or otherwise. Whether it's your favorite station or your least favorite station, it trends towards a little bit of fear mongering. It trends towards it trends towards getting your attention, which is what the news is designed to do. It's another form of entertainment in a lot of ways. And I will echo what you said back in our interview, and something that I've come to believe in firmly. And that's, a couple hours a day, turn it off. Just turn it off. Nothing's going to happen that you're not going to know about. And nothing's going to happen that that's going to freak you out. Put your phone down, turn the news off. And to, again, steal your line, George, and to exactly what Jeff is talking about, put on your favorite album. Whatever it is, whatever that album is. Doesn't matter if it's happy or sad or good or bad, or it's your favorite album. Put it on and dance or sing to yourself or to your cat or to your loved ones, or just sit there quietly and listen, or throw it on some headphones and go for a walk, or, or something, and get some fresh air. And, music really,
Heals.
Again, it heals, and it's transcendent in so many ways. And it has a wonderful power, and it can take you back to a certain time that you remember, or it can transport you to a future time that we know is coming. So, I definitely echo what each of you said. I appreciate you saying it.
Do your pets look at you like, are you guys ever going to get out of here?
Yeah, my dogs are concerned. They're pretty happy, but they're concerned.
Did you get fired?
Yeah. My dogs are concerned they're not going to eat again because they've eaten so much and they've had so many walks. Yeah.
Jason, to back your plate, the news doesn't make me feel good. My favorite album makes me feel good.
Amen, brother. Amen.
Yeah.
To all our folks out there that are watching, on behalf of Timmy and George and Cara and Jeff and Joel, who couldn't be with us, but all the other folks out there, I want to say thank you so much. I want to say thank you so much for tuning in here to the Star Vista Live YouTube channel. I'm your virtual cruise host, Jason, and great to have you as always. Stay tuned to this channel. We'll have more content coming soon. And no matter what cruise you're on, whether it's Flower Power, Malt Shop, Rock and Romance, Disco, any of the others, we hope that you'll keep the faith, because trust me, we are, and we'll all be back on board so soon that blink and you'll miss it, my friends. We'll be back there soon enough. So wash your hands, stay safe, stay tuned in for more content coming soon. On behalf of all of these wonderful stars, thank you so much, everybody.
Guys.
Have a great day. See you around.
Bye, guys.
We love you. We love you.
It needs time to win back your love again. I will be there. I will be there.
Now it's just a party.
Well,
Now it's just a party.
and there it is.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Joel Mason's dad. What's going on, bro?
Oh,
Dad, man, what up, brother?
Janine just texted me saying, "Are your ears buzzing? You got some friends chit-chatting." And I was like, "Oh my God, Jason told me about this." And I spaced, and I'm out of I worked out today. I'm out of the shower. I just want to I don't look my best, but I want to say hi to you guys.
You rarely do, so it's good.
Dude, are you kidding me? Shoot.
you're awesome.
Yeah.